Thank you for joining IAB There.
Hi, this is Brad Behrens, IAB's editor-in-chief. On today's IAB There, we bring you an interview I did at our recent Brand Disruption Summit with Leonard Brody of CAA's Creative Lab, Shannon Ellis, and Pookie Mehta-Chittifan of Love Nala, as well as Nala Cat herself. Enjoy the interview and stick around after for information about IAB's next big event, the annual leadership meeting. Hi, everybody. I'm Brad Behrens, editor-in-chief here at the IAB. Welcome back to the Brand Disruption Summit. I'm so thrilled today to be introducing you to Nala, the most popular cat on Instagram, her humans, and also their business partner. This session is Innovation, Cat Videos, and the Birth of a New Pet Food Brand. We're going to start by welcoming my old friend Leonard Brody onto the screen. Leonard is the co-founder of the joint venture with CAA called Creative Labs. He is also a longtime authority on innovation, an entrepreneur. I'm very pleased to welcome him to the Brand Disruption Summit. Leonard Brody, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
So share with us, what is Creative Labs? Like, what's the vision for it, and why does CAA want to be in this business with you?
Yeah, so Creative Labs was started about 3 years ago as a partnership between us, my co-founders, and CAA. And really, it was based on the realization that the market had really shifted for celebrity and talent, and their direct audiences were sizable and meaningful. And I think there was a desire on both talent's part and CAA's part to start to build our own products and our own companies. Partially because I think talent was demanding it and was interested in it, and also because the time was right as they were individual media channels in and of themselves. So I think it was sort of this joint realization that the timing was right, the market looked right, and I think CAA wanted to have the ability to have a SWAT team internally that they could work with, that could go ahead and build these companies from the ground up and take care of literally everything from data and research to ideation to live operations.
And we've had celebrities endorsing brands since there were celebrities and since there was mass media, but this is different. I mean, this is not just endorsement. This is celebrities as equity stakeholders in these consumer brands. Is that right?
Yeah, the key difference is this is about entrepreneurship. So the talent that's really involved in these companies are entrepreneurs. They are there from the formation of the businesses. They are working on the ideation. They are holding roles in the companies, everything from creative director to marketing to product design. I mean, depending on the business. So that's the core difference is the difference between endorsement and entrepreneurship. And we fall on that entrepreneurship side of the fence.
That's very exciting. Let's talk about who you can talk about. We're going to meet Nala and her humans in a few moments, but who else might you share with us that CAA is working with, and on what?
Sure. So we work with a lot of the client base at CAA. We have lots of stuff that is unannounced. I'll give you one example of a product that we're working on now that's launched about 4 or 5 months ago. So we launched a in-home fitness product with Carrie Underwood called Fit52, and we did that just in the middle of COVID. So the timing of it was, I would say, completely unplanned, and we were very fortunate in terms of the timing of the release of it. And it's a whole fitness community built around wellness and the look and feel around fitness, that wellness has to be fun and it has to be engaging, and that a lot of the workout apps that were out there were kind of similar in their pattern. So Carrie developed a really, really cool program built around a deck of cards with her trainer, and we released that to the public, and it's available now on iOS and Android, and it's been doing incredibly well since it launched in March and April.
I was wondering what the 5-2 was, and now that you've explained that it's a deck of cards, that it all becomes clear. Home fitness is one category that we've seen explode during the pandemic. Essentially, we've seen a lot of trends that were buried underneath and behaviors that were slowly changing suddenly accelerate. And pets is another of those categories. We've seen massive pet adoption, which is a wonderful thing because people are spending so much time at home. So talk with me, please, about pet food as a category and CAA's interest in getting there and why.
Yeah, so that sort of journey starts a little bit with Creative Labs and how we're slightly different. So we tend to stay away from the categories that traditional endorsement deals get done in, so we don't run into exclusivity problems. So we're kind of mudlarks. We're always looking around for big consumer categories that we think are interesting, compelling, talent can make a difference, and it's not the usual the same old categories that everybody's seeing. So we started getting really excited when we looked at pet food over a year ago and pet treats and just the pet landscape, period. And there were a lot of things we really liked about it. One, pet food has really high gross margins, almost similar to beauty. So you've got a really good margin business. You have a huge consumer base. You have, in effect, some behavioral shifting that's gone on over the last 2 years, where we're seeing this real humanization of pets in the family, where they're really are becoming members of the family. And the parity between how much money the average North American family spends on food for themselves versus their animals has really started to even out. So you're starting to see that in the spend as well as the behaviors. You're seeing things like the rise of the suburbs growing, not just for economic reasons, but also so that people have a place for their pets. So we looked at all of that and we just liked the way the behavioral trending was going. And we also looked at the fact that pet food had kind of been sold this way for many, many years. Sold basically on the same three vectors. How old was your pet? How big was your pet? And what was the quality of food you believed you wanted to get with that purchase? And last but not least, so we felt there was a real opportunity to market to the pet owners, to identify that brand of the pet and the family and the relationship between the animal and the human and their brand together, which really hadn't been done before. And lastly, there wasn't a lot of celebrity in the pet food space. And there have been a couple notable examples that have been really successful. And we felt this was kind of the beauty moment for pet food, where you were going to start to see these two worlds collide and cross over.
That's very exciting. Well, let's talk about one of your celebrity pets, which is Nala. And we have a video to introduce Nala, and then we're going to meet Pookie and Shannon, her owners, and hopefully Nala herself. So let's roll the video.
When I adopted Nala, I never thought that she's gonna be the most followed cat on Instagram. She was just really cute.
She's just special. She lights up people's world. I was actually a Nala fan since 2013. I was hand making bow ties and I thought Nala would look great in my bow tie. So I sent Nala a bow tie and Pookie ordered like 50 bow ties from me. And we've been together since.
Nala brought us together and we became one family. Now we have 6 cats and a dog.
Nala, her name actually means gift. And she feels like that. She feels like that to us as a family, to our community. I feel like the best way to honor her is to do something that her name can live on forever. So we've been working on a super secret project. We created a premium cat food line called Love Nala.
We wanted to create a brand where it's affordable and it's premium and it's good food for the cats.
Nala's pretty picky, so everything with Nala's name on it is gonna be the best. We created dry food, 3 recipes, chicken, salmon, and kitten.
And 2 different wet food, tuna and salmon and chicken and pumpkin. When you open the can, you actually can see real piece of meat.
A very common thing that cats don't drink enough water, and that can lead to a lot of medical issues. And so we have a gravy recipe, and then we have a broth.
Nala is really picky eater, and she loves it.
We have a very farm-to-bowl philosophy, and we've been to the factory. We've inspected everything. We know exactly where the ingredients are from.
Everything in the bag, everything in the can is there for a purpose. It's a complete and balanced meal that's good for your cat. Through social media, Nala created this big loving community.
We feel like we don't really have followers. They're like our family.
We have our brand account called Love Nala Co.
The goal for Love Nala Co. is to just have overall happiness and wellness. We want other pet parents to meet there and talk.
Nala brought us together, and I hope that through Love Nala Co. and Love Nala Food, we can bring other family together too.
People are familiar with us, familiar with Nala. creating a product that everyone could love and trust, I think we're honoring her. Every cat deserves a bowl full of love.
Well, Pookie and Shannon, thank you so much for joining us at the Brand Disruption Summit. Welcome.
Thank you for having us. Pleasure to be here with you.
So at some point, I hope we meet one of your furry family members. Let's talk about community and the extent to which community powered your move into a direct-to-consumer product, and also how community continues to power your product. What's the difference between Love Nala and Nala.co? Like it was a little bit hard to follow in the video. Those are two different entities, yes?
The most simplest explanation would be Love Nala handle on Instagram was taken. So we just had to slap on the co at the end so that we could keep the Love Nala name in the handle.
And Nala was a rescue, just to talk about the kitty for a moment, right? How did you rescue her? And that was Pookie who rescued her.
Yeah, so back in 2010, I went to a shelter with my friends, and I usually visit a shelter to kind of like play with the kitties, and I wasn't thinking about adopting a cat at that day, but I saw Nala. She was so small and tiny, and she's in a metal cage, and I asked, the people at the shelter if I can carry her, and I carry her, and she licked my face. And at that moment, I feel like I couldn't leave her there by herself. And so I adopted her that day without thinking that she's going to be famous. And I had her for 2 years before I started her Instagram account. And then now she has 4.3 million followers.
That's just an astonishing number. And then Leonard, who I hope will join us again at any moment, was telling me that Nala, when she does public appearances, that a lot of people show up. Like, can you share any particular stories about what happens when Nala pops up at a market or whatever?
People actually cry, and it's still our heart. We feel like they are really happy when they see Nala. A lot of people say that Nala brightened up their day, and a lot of people reach out and say that because of her story, to make them feel like they have what do you call it?
We have hope.
They have hope. Yeah,
Something to look forward to every day. Nala inspires a lot of people to be themselves and be the best versions of themselves. And I think that's what life should be like. And Nala is a symbol of that. She teaches us that we can be ourselves, we can build a community, we all can relate to each other. And we're all, our overall goal is just to spread happiness through Nala. And she's done that for us, and we'll never stop.
That's very exciting. Can we meet her? Is she around, or is she doing what cats do and hiding under a couch somewhere?
Yeah, we'll go get her.
Pookie's gonna go find her. Yeah.
On the shelf here.
On the
We're in
shelf.
what we call the
And you,
yeah.
Can you say that one more time, please, Shannon?
This room that we're in, we call it the cat room. So the whole room is catified. We have cat shelves, an Indiana Jones bridge. We have a swing. We have cat tree scratchers. So she's up there on the cat shelf where she likes to be. She's a tree climber, not much of a ground dweller.
And you, from the video, you have a bunch of other animals. Are any of them also Instagram celebrities? Do any of them have products that they're rolling out?
Yeah, we have White Coffee Cat. He's our cancer survivor. He has 2 million followers, and it's pretty unique. Nala and Coffee, their overlap is only 200,000 followers. So it's interesting to see that they have. That neat. So we got that intel from Instagram. We were curious, what's the overlap? And you can see the difference in their communities, in the tone and the way they communicate and relate. Here she is.
She's coming.
Is she unhappy? to be on camera right now. Hello, Nala.
Yeah. She's like sleeping.
She doesn't look super stoked to be here. I apologize for interrupting your tree climbing,
It's
Nala.
okay. It's important to say hello just for a moment, right? Can you hear her?
So yes, I can. So your other cat has 2 million followers, and then tell us about. I think Spencer, your dog, popped up right before we started rolling. Is this a plan to have him roll to? Is there going to be a Love Spencer dog food? Perhaps is that on your roadmap?
Can we share, Leonard, or is that something we can share?
Sure.
Oh my! I think I asked a good question by mistake. How wonderful!
This is Coffee.
Hello, Coffee.
Coffee doesn't like to share. I mean, Nala doesn't like to really share the spotlight with Coffee too much, but so he promotes love for Nala. So
Coffee is a cancer survivor. He was diagnosed with a kidney lymphoma when he was 1, and he's been in
Wow. How
remission.
old is he now?
he's been in remission for 4 years now, and we owe it to the community, really, the love, support, and things were different for us back then, and this was 4 years ago, 4.5 years ago. So we did a few months of treatment, but it was thanks to the community that they really supported us, encouraged us, and we learned together. We feel like we got him healthy together with the community, and so that's why we feel like they're our family. We've all been through so much together.
And how has your business changed during the pandemic since February or March? We've seen so many things change for so many families, for so many individuals, for so many companies. What has the impact of COVID been on everything, not just the product, but on sort of the online community, on your endeavor in general?
I feel like we are really lucky to be in this position, because for us, like a lot of people are on their phone more often than before the pandemic. A lot of people purchase stuff online, a lot of more online activity.
Mm-hmm.
So
we've actually seen a growing demand for D2C, and so I agree with you. I feel really lucky that we haven't been impacted much by the pandemic. We're thankful every day, but we are also conservative, and we know that things happen. So we work hard and do what we can to stay ahead.
Well, let's bring Leonard back in. Leonard, let's talk about where you think the whole consumer brand economy is going, and what have you at Creative Labs learned from the Love Nala product launch, from the work with Fit52? Like, where do you think everything's headed?
Yeah, I mean, I think the question that we look at pretty consistently is how much of, when you go through these global resets and you have these moments where the world shifts, whether it's in this case medical or prior financial, like when you go through these serious resetting moments, the question is always how much of those behaviors stay, because you often end up in a forced behavioral reset, like working from home or not being able to go out, and those are the things that are forced upon you. And the question is, what are the long-term behaviors that come out of that are going to stick in a normalization of the economy? And so I think for us, we look at, there's no question that e-commerce has hit its tipping point, that we are at a place now where behaviorally close to 50% of the Western world over the next 2 to 3 years will be spending a significant amount of their consumer dollars online. And that just changes the way you have to have the experience and relationship with the customer. So we're very focused on this new direct relationship it's certainly been bubbling for many years, but we've now reached that sort of crossover moment where everyone has to be very, very close to that customer and understand what their needs are, understand how to service them, and make sure you're actually delivering products that they can care about and they can find. And so I think that's really one of the big shifts, is this sort of wake up moment for the e-commerce economy. And I think the other that we're seeing just in terms of pets and why we're so bullish about Love Nala and the team is there is just no question that the work from home environment has created this much deeper bond and humanization of pets and people's relationship to their pets. I mean, if you think about the stress and the challenges of being isolated in a home environment, having animals and pets around is such a great way to make that experience more livable and more joyful. And so I think what we were seeing pre-COVID, which was this mass rise of humanization of animals in people's lives, is just going to accelerate. And I think you're going to start to see this melding of the humans brand with their animals brand as one come closer and closer together. And I think these are just trends that will continue post-COVID. I don't think they go away. I think they accelerate.
Well, it's a big bet that you're all making. Congratulations on making it. Thank you all, Pookie, Shannon, and Leonard, for joining us at the IAB Brand Disruption Summit. I hope that we can have you back soon, and I hope that we can have you back when we're all face-to-face again so that Nala's fans can perhaps Thanks for listening to my interview with CAA's Creative Labs and the co-founders of Love Nala. IAB's next big event is ALM, the annual leadership meeting, running the week of March 8th. To find out more, visit www.iab.com/events.